It's one of the most magnificent cities of the ancient world, Petra. Its monumental temple-like tombs soar over 100 feet tall. And these wonders of engineering are not constructed, they're carved out of sandstone cliffs. At its height, Petra was the center of a vast trading network in frankincense and myrrh, and home to over 30,000 people in one of the most bone-dry deserts on Earth.
It's not an appropriate location for a city. There is not even drinking water down there.
How did an ancient people supply enough water for this vast city? And how did they carve these magnificent structures so high up in these cliffs? To find out, a geoscientist teams up with stonemasons to carve a Petra-style tomb.
We're looking at something that hasn't been witnessed for almost 2,000 years.
And archaeologists and hydroengineers discover how a group of nomads transformed this desert city into an oasis, the Las Vegas of the ancient world.
It's really conspicuous consumption of this precious resource, water, in this desert environment.
Finally, after 2,000 years, the secrets of Petra are about to be revealed. Up now on Nova, Petra, Lost City of Stone.
Major funding for NOVA is provided by the following. The David H. Koch Fund for Science, supporting NOVA and promoting public understanding of science. And the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and by PBS viewers like you. Thank you.
It's one of the driest places on Earth. Yet concealed among the canyons of this harsh desert in the Kingdom of Jordan is a magnificent ancient city, Petra. For over 1,000 years, its location remained hidden, protected by fortress-like cliffs and Bedouin tribes who fiercely guarded its secret. Then, in 1812, a Swiss adventurer disguised as an Arab pilgrim risks his life to search for the legendary city. Johann Ludwig Burckhardt makes his way through the Sieg, a dramatic canyon rising almost 600 feet that twists and turns for nearly a mile. Near its end, the canyon widens to reveal a towering, temple-like facade. It is called the Treasury, or Khazne in Arabic. Built 2,000 years ago, it is a masterpiece of design and engineering. Majestic columns rise from the canyon floor, topped by ornately carved capitals. Statues of mythological figures adorn its facade. A fanciful urn graces its roof, and a towering doorway leads inside to a room with 3 chambers. Here, there is no elaborate carving, just the simple, natural beauty of the stone.
And then we back away and we realize not only is this building unique and fantastic, but it has been carved into the sheer face of living rock.
The treasury is actually a sculpture on a monumental scale. At 80 feet wide and 127 feet tall, it is twice the height of the Mount Rushmore Memorial. As Burckhardt continues through the canyon, he discovers hundreds of magnificently carved facades everywhere, many rivaling the grandeur of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. But there is more. The ruins of an entire city. a 6,000-seat theater carved right out of the sandstone. A main street lined with huge temple-like structures. And even more spectacular monuments carved higher in the mountains. But Burckhardt's rediscovery of the legendary city sparks more questions than answers. Who built Petra, and why? Burckhardt was inspired by stories of a mysterious desert tribe who gained their wealth trading spices and silks among China, India, Egypt, and Rome, and then hid their treasures of gold in the cliffs. Greek and Roman sources provide a name for these people: the Nabateans. An account from the 4th century BCE describes the Nabateans as nomadic tent dwellers. But 3 centuries later, another source describes them as a sophisticated people inhabiting a prosperous city. Around the time of Jesus, Nabatea is a thriving kingdom surrounded by Egypt, Judea, and the vast North Arabian desert. How, in just a few centuries, did a village of tents become a wealthy kingdom? And how, in the middle of a desert, did they build Petra? Tom Paradise has spent over 3 decades trying to find out. He's a geoscientist who specializes in preserving ancient structures. Alongside the treasury, he sees strange square marks that could be a clue to how it was built. Are these marks the remnants of where an ancient scaffold was anchored to the cliff face?
For many years, people considered these to be holds for wooden scaffolding that may have been used for the actual carving.
But Paradise has doubts. If these are scaffolding marks, why did the Nabateans leave them here? And why are they found nowhere else in Petra? Paradise believes the real reason for the marks may be tied to the fanciful name given to this monument centuries ago.
This building is called the Khazne. It is the treasury. And so legend goes back millennia that this housed riches.
Because it is known as the treasury, people have searched it for treasure. Bullet holes riddle the urn at the top. And these marks may be footholds to climb up and get a closer look.
We think maybe those footholds were carved for the purpose of raiding the upper parts of the Khazne, looking for the treasure.
But the urn holds no gold. It's solid rock. The only treasures here are the magnificent sculptures. Whatever the true purpose of these marks, Paradise is certain they're not for scaffolding. After all, in this desert, wood is relatively scarce. So how on earth could the ancient Nabateans carve such a huge monument so high up in the cliff face without scaffolding? Paradise has a bold plan to find out.
That go all the way down to the top.
Working with a team of stonemasons, they will try to carve a Nabatean-style facade for the first time in 2,000 years.
I may be sitting on the answer to the age-old question as to how were these facades carved.
At the same time, archaeologists and hydroengineers are investigating how the Nabateans could even survive in this bone-dry environment.
The entire hydraulic infrastructure was built, as I think I may prove, following one master plan.
Their groundbreaking discoveries are revealing the engineers of Petra were not only masters of stone, but also of water, transforming a desert city into the Las Vegas of the ancient world. Now, can scientists finally uncover how a nomadic tribe built this city of stone? And why Petra ultimately vanished into legend. Most people will recognize the treasury from the climactic scene of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where Harrison Ford and Sean Connery enter a secret temple to discover the Holy Grail. But despite the great Hollywood story, the treasury and most of Petra's iconic buildings are not temples. They're tombs. The Nabateans left very little writing, but on some of their facades are inscriptions in an Aramaic script, the common language of the Middle East in the time of Jesus. This one, on a facade called Turkmenia, reads in part, "This tomb is sacred. Nothing of all that is inside shall be changed or removed forever." Tomb raiders disregarded notices like this, so human remains and grave goods rarely survive. But body-sized niches leave no doubt these were burial chambers. In all, the cliffs of Petra hold over 800 tombs.
The prominence of these monuments led many of the early explorers to consider the possibility that this might just be a city of the dead, a necropolis. But over the past 200 years, all of the research has actually shown it was a city of the living as well.
Chris Tuttle has been working here more than 10 years. Although less than 2% of the site has been excavated, archaeologists have mapped and surveyed the area. All in all, ancient Petra was a metropolis about the size of the island of Manhattan. There is a 2-square-mile downtown where people lived, worked, and prayed. Suburbs, housing more people, stretch to the north and south. Based on these surveys, Tuttle can estimate the population.
At its height, we expect this city housed somewhere between 20 or 30,000 people.
Yet unlike cultures that bury their dead in isolated areas, in Petra, tombs are everywhere. Why did the Nabateans carve their tombs throughout the city? And how did they do it? Paradise hopes his carving project will provide some answers.
Creating an experiment in which we reconstruct a facade will give us insight into how the Nabateans carved these fantastic facades 2,000 years ago.
But Paradise can't carve his facade here. Petra is a protected World Heritage Site.